my goal with you today is just a couple of things. I want you to have a hop in your step when you leave this building. And I'm going to try really hard the next few minutes to put a hop in your step. Not so much by what I did right, but what I did incorrectly. For 2/3 of my career, and if you look at the bio, it looked like it was a lot of fun, and it was. We won a lot. We won 11 championships, and I'm proud of that. What I'm not proud of is 2/3 of them were really empty W's, meaning I was completely fixated on W's and winning and dominating, and this idea that more is better. And I didn't really focus too much on how I got there or how I treated those student athletes until the last third of my career. But what I want to share with you are some things that I hope you put in your back pocket that will protect all the great things that we do in coaching and also why we got into coaching. Is that we raised our hand at some point and said, I'm going to do this. And we fell in love with the idea of affecting others. Many of us love to compete. But I want to represent your future. I am your retirement. And when you retire, you reflect and you have an opportunity to say to yourself, wow, what went well and what didn't? And I want to share with you some things that I know if I learned earlier in my career, I would have been so much better. Early on in my career, I learned something called the 33% rule. And it goes something like this. There's 1/3 of the people on your team, at your workplace, in your social circle, maybe even in your church community. There's just 1/3 of the people out there that will suck the life out of you. No one ever told them, put a filter on it. What happened to the bottom 1/3? The bottom 1/3 has gone through life and no one has stopped them to say, do you realize life is a team sport? This world doesn't revolve around you. And I know early in my career, I was bottom 1/3. I was that coach that was just measuring the gaps. I was the coach that said, hey, throw strikes. Thanks, Captain Obvious. Thank you. And then you have middle 1/3. Middle 1/3, they blow in the wind, right? So at the beginning of the season, that middle 1/3 really is top 1/3. The middle of the season, now you're not that great. Middle 1/3 now goes to the bottom. So beginning of the season, you're in the honeymoon. We're undefeated. Everyone's starting. Everyone's going to be an All-American. I love my team. I love my coach. I love the universe. Now we're in the gut of the season, and you're at the bottom of the conference. She's not starting, and she turns into bottom 1/3. Then you have top 1/3. Those special handful of kids that just literally every single day go out there and give you everything that they have. I'm going to ask you to wear the 33% armor to protect you from the bottom 1/3 of society, of your athletic department, of your own team, and don't let the bottom 1/3 come home with you. Because what do we do as coaches many times? We go through our full day. Now it's finally time to get home. You get in the driveway. You take a deep breath. Your family's there. They've been waiting for you all day. In the back of your mind, bottom 1/3. They're still there, right? You open up that door, you sit down, you're having dinner, and all you're going to do, you're going to talk about bottom 1/3. And then she said this, and then she said that, or then he said that. And it also works. I know many of you out there are coaching youth. You're not professional coaches. You're not getting paid to coach. I want to share with you something I learned early on. As a youth coach, and you spent your 12 hours on your job, and you just went to the tournament. Now it's 11 o'clock. They turn the gym lights off. They turn the field lights off. You're now ready to go to your car. You are 50 yards away from the noise. And you're there, and you're marching, and you're good. You see it. You see home. And then out of nowhere, out of the dark of night, they come into your blind spot at a 45-degree angle. Oh, coach, one quick question about the lineup. And it's the bottom third that's going to second guess everything that you've done that day. We have been in that experience, whether it be on the phone, whether it be in the parking lot. And I challenge you as coaches to remember the 33% rule. Don't let the bottom third suck the life out of you. Don't let the bottom third rule your world. And if you can always remember that middle third is changeable. The top third will always create the momentum on good days and bad days. That's 2/3, that's momentum. I'm not saying cut the bottom third. One guy over here is like, oh, I would cut the bottom third. But don't let them permeate your soul. Because the goal, and all of the mistakes I made for so much of my career, what I am proud of, that I left the game with my passion intact. And if you wear that 33% armor, you will leave the sport with your passion intact. And I'm going to talk about being fulfilled when you're done. So always, let's hope that we have that 33% armor. All of us have a strong and a weak voice. And I just have to ask you, would you? And we laugh because we will really want to say, oh, heck no, I would not date myself. And I knew part of my calling in retirement was I needed to go across the country and share with everybody as somebody that I wasn't gifted, surrounded by people that taught me how to believe in myself, that coached the person, that allowed me to be in a position to affect others. But it wasn't until the end that I realized we all have a strong and weak voice in there. All of us do. And the trick to getting to the top and staying on the top is to be able to manage that voice. Would you recruit them? Because they look like losers to me. But what I found in retirement, I wanted to go across all gender, go across all sports, and I wanted to find out everybody's dark side. And I asked them to write on your card all your weak voices. And there they are. But what I want the world to know, because many of you will not be, no offense, a 22-time national champion, an 11-time national champion. I want to give you things right now that you can walk out this door and know, to be able to say, that voice that you see up on the screen right now, that language that you see on the screen right now, that's a champion's language. But what's the trick? The trick is we understand, we're evaluating that conversation all the time. That conversation that's going on in your head, all I'm asking you every single day from this day forward is to release your student athletes, release them to be able to go, yeah, there are times I am scrambled eggs in my head. Create the environment where they feel safe to be able to go, whoa, it is messy up there. Help me. Because if you can show that champions have that weak voice, why did they become the champion and remain a champion? What did UCLA do that got them to the top? But more importantly, I'm more fascinated what keeps you on top. And the trick is you manage that strong and weak voice in your head. And you make a commitment to yourself from this day forward. I can't change the weak voice, but I can ask you to always let the strong voice get the last word. Doubt is a part of what fuels us. That's human nature to have doubt. Let's stop being the coaches that say, you need to go out there, oh, UCLA, they're just so fearless. No, everyone, no, I gotta pull back the curtain. No, there's a lot of fear. You're UCLA. You've been to the World Series every single year. Every single kid has a championship ring in the legacy of this program. No pressure. The only thing we have to be great on is, I told my student athletes every day, we must let the strong voice get the last word. And you do that drip, 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 Monday through Friday, Monday through Friday. It becomes natural. You see, culture, mindset, illiteracy doesn't happen at an event. We are not going to change your life. You are going to change the lives of others by drip, drip, drip. Be simple, be clear, be consistent in the message. And part of it is to be authentic. We have good days, bad days, strong and weak voices. Let's manage that. And if we do that, you're going to stay in your brain. And I love the Sharpie, because we always think of the Sharpie. If you're in sports, we sign the balls, we sign the T-shirts, we sign the paper, but it's indelible. Every single day from this day, I hope I affect you anytime you see a Sharpie. I want to ask you, am I embedding in their brain to let the strong voice get the last word? Because our real goal at the end is to affect the way they believe in themselves. That is our calling, to affect the way they believe in themselves. And it is our job to create the conditions for them to do that. So from this day forward, when you see the Sharpie, please ask yourself, am I staining their brain in what they can do each and every day? I regret that I wanted 400 more swings versus an extra 15 minutes on how we're going to go about doing things. Because character seems soft. But what if I say to you, be the engineer of belief? Be an engineer of belief. So we get both sides. An engineer, what do we think of? Linear, black and white. There's an edge, there's a right and a wrong. No getting around an engineer. Measure gaps, we're not there yet, of belief. What is your model of belief for your student athletes and your employees? Mine was simple. My model was I always took inventory on what they did well. So in the moment, and I said, this is where your feet are in the bottom of the seventh, and you've got one swing left to your life, I'm going to go ahead and repeat what you have done. I will own where we are in this moment, and I will project what you will do. I can't wait to see you on the other end. You've been here before. You did this, this, and this. We are here in this moment. You have earned the right to be confident in this moment. Have a blast where your feet are in this moment, and I will meet you on the other side of success. That's an engineer that's built a model around belief. You're all right isn't enough. Give them a model, give them the blueprint, give them the recipe. Where they've been, where they are, and where they're going. That's your model when you're done. This is what I have learned about great coaches over time. Great coaches over time, they never say, oh my gosh, I couldn't stand playing for her because she made me believe way too much. Right? Right? But that is our challenge. That is my call to action to you, is to be an engineer of belief. And in doing that, they stain their own brain. It becomes their language. When your language becomes their language, we now can scale character effect. And doing that, I challenge you to become really a PhD in convincing. Because there are times we must convince what they don't see yet. That is our job, and that's our calling. That's why you're good at what you do. Many of the things that you're so great at, we don't measure. I want to stop and say thank you for doing it the right way. Thank you for being the minority. And how great when the minority here comes together and coalesces around things that aren't measured, intangibles, character. From this day forward, think about the Sharpie. You will see it a lot now. You'll see it at all the stores. You'll see it in your notebook. And always remember, am I staining their brain? Am I literally an engineer of belief? I want to talk about failure because for me, failure and success, they hold hands. You can't have one without the other. Success has no meaning if we have no context. My calling is to go across the country and remind every coach, if I can get you talking comfortably about failure as we fall in love talking about success and winning, your student athletes are going to feel safe in their environment. I challenge you to create the hardest practices in your region and the safest environment for them to go for it. I'm going to challenge you to uncoach them and give the game back to them. If you practice 5 days a week, I challenge you to give 10 minutes to the upper class and let them run your defense. I see one guy who's just like, but that just means you're not there yet. For 2/3 of my career, I wasn't there, but that's what I regret. I regret that I didn't give the game back to them, because when they're in the cooker, when you're in the championship, we're in the moments where you must be able to be who you are. For us at UCLA, we simply said this: we will clamp on harder to what got us here, and no one will set us from that. You can't do that if we don't give the game back to them. We don't honor who they are, and we don't honor that process to get to the end. So I'm going to ask you to think about a failure recovery system in your own practice. For us, it was simply owning the moment, patting the chest, my bad, and calling 2 outs. Our failure recovery system was an actual routine that they learned. It became a station at practice. And I made the scenario harder for the team. So in our world, defense, you got to throw to a base and hit a receiver. Instead of just letting her stand there and have a lot of range to hit that target, I put them on a bucket. And you can't lift your butt off the bucket. Your throw has to be perfect. And it wasn't perfect. You missed it. Go through your routine, your failure recovery routine. And be a hornet as a leader. That failure recovery is the key to sustainable excellence, because we have 100% control over it. Build a failure recovery system. Practice it. Practice the routine. Teach young student athletes that your chin must be up, your shoulders must be back. You must have eye contact and look at your teammate and go, my bad, 2 outs, I got you. And get into your position. As opponent, you look over there and you see that kind of stability, it's intimidating. But we must teach them, put them in the environment where they're safe, execute it over time so it becomes natural. And yes, anybody that wants to learn that you're in a fast-paced sport, there's failure recovery systems that basketball teams are doing all over the country, and it's working. Because, folks, excellence doesn't blink. Excellence does not wait for you to get rid of your junk. Excellence keeps moving. And that's what I love about the game. It won't wait for you to pull it together. So we must put that into our segments when we're training. In the end, I'm going to ask you to just take a moment right now. You know, we have friends that pass away, and we have another friend that comes in, and we're talking about that friend that passes away. And the friend says, oh, I don't know who Evelyn was. Who was Evelyn? And then in that one moment, Evelyn, who's lived this full life, you have one sentence to give on Evelyn. Oh, Evelyn, did you know she coached? She was a great coach. That's all we get. I want you to now project ahead. Take a moment, pull your pen out. Can you write your life sentence right now? In closing, as I said in the beginning, for us, for those of us that have already been on the journey that you're going on, you will be remembered by how you treat the people that you lead. So remember how you think, strong and weak voice, how you speak, that bottom third, middle third, top third, how you act over time, that is your pattern of behavior. That becomes your character, and your character is your legacy. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a good day.